Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Princess and the Bee. I am so excited to be here with you today. As always, make sure to give yourself a hot dose of gratitude for choosing content that uplifts, inspires, champions, and challenges you to grow and build your empire. And speaking of empire building, one of the best ways that I have been building my empire is by guesting on other people's podcasts. And this podcast today is sponsored by Communication Queens, which is my signature 8-week program teaching you how to profit from guest podcasting. In 9 months, I was able to generate $70,000 in new business in less than 50 interviews by going on other people's podcasts. And this episode is a sneak peek into one of our Communication Queens trainings to help you get more visible and improve your skill set as a communicator. Inside of Communication Queens, you will learn my exact strategy that gets me booked on at least 2 to 3 podcasts per week, which not only allows me to build my brand awareness and my empire and expand my impact, but it also is a powerful source of lead generation and revenue for my business. I teach you multiple strategies inside of Communication Queens on how you can make podcasting a profitable source of lead generation for your business so that you can start making the income and the impact that you deserve. So if this is sounding appealing, if you've always wanted to either start your own podcast or get on other people's podcasts so that you get to maximize on their audience, then definitely get your booty up on the wait list for Communication Queens. We are launching again soon. Welcome to the Princess and the Bee podcast, the place to be to build your empire as queen of your body, business, and life. I'm your host, Kimberly Spencer, founder of crownyourself.com, and I'm an award-winning coach, Amazon best-selling author, and multi-passionate entrepreneur. Each week, I give you the systems, strategies, and success stories to help you master your mindset, communicate with ease, and triple your productivity so you make the income and the impact you deserve. Imagine this podcast as your weekly spark of inspiration as you take it to the next level with all the bees of your life. Body, business, bank account, boys, and babies. Let's make it rain. And so I really wanted to open this up for how to serve you, how to best serve yourself with getting in the habit and in the practice of being a communication queen, of getting your message out there, and of having the skill set so that when a podcast interview comes up, there's not that like weird dead space of like, and all those, because sometimes that can happen. I mean, I was actually just on a podcast last night, and there were topics that were discussed, but that weren't really questions. And so having the ability to have that command and candor to lean into, okay, well, you just dropped this topic. You didn't ask me a question on this, but I'm going to continue on expanding on this topic that we discussed. And so a great way to practice that is actually through social media. And I know that for everyone over the age of 35 in this group, that social media feels very foreign. It is a new skill. It is something that you're learning. And there's a great piece of social media that is both in Facebook, your personal Facebook profile, your public Facebook page, and your Instagram, and that is called Stories. And so what Stories is it allows you to, within 15 seconds to 60 seconds, to be able to share on a topic, on a thought, expand on an idea, give a tip. And so this is not only a great way to build your social presence, to get people seeing and recognizing you as an expert in your industry and in your field, but this is also a way for you to get the practice of putting yourself out there, of sharing your voice, of sharing a tip, of sharing a system, of sharing a strategy that really can be of service. And so I'm going to do one really, really quick. I'm going to show you how easy this is. So I'm just going to pull up my Instagram and I'm going to click on stories. And then I'm just going to go to story and then you just hit the record button and you record. And so I'm going to flip the screen. Hello, my fellow sovereigns, and I am just here on a quick Q&A training with my communication queens, teaching them how easy it is these days to practice sharing your message. All you have to do is click on your stories, and then for 15 seconds to 60 seconds, you share on a topic or a theme or a strategy or a system or a tip that can really benefit your ideal customer avatar. And in doing this, you're able to hone your craft of speaking. You're also able to hone your message, and you're able to identify yourself as the expert in the eyes of your audience. And in doing this through stories, what makes it so great is that stories are 15 to 60 seconds and they get deleted after a day. So if you mess up, if you fuck up, if you fail at it, it's totally fine. Pretty much no one will remember 2 days later. Done. So now I'm just going to share that to my stories right now. Literally did that in real time. Done. And so sometimes I'll add like a caption or add text or things, but I wanted to show you just how simple it is to just pop on social media. And now I could do that through my Facebook profile and do that very easily through that, or I did it through my Instagram, which automatically my Instagram stories get populated to my Facebook stories for my Facebook page. And so that is how you can very easily start establishing yourself as an expert, giving a tip, giving a piece of advice, and also sharing and showing a bit of behind the scenes of your life. So it'll also give that empathetic factor, because it will show those pieces, because people won't really remember it after a couple of days. And if you mess up, like I said, if you mess up or you fail or you flub up a word, you get into the practice of taking the action and then just going. And so you get into the practice of just speaking and trusting that what comes out and what comes through is exactly what is supposed to come out and come through. And then you hit send and then you go about your day. And then your message is going out into the world, it's being received by others, and people will have the opportunity of connecting to it. And as you do, it builds those little incremental pieces of trust. It also helps with you being able to hone that message and brevity. So brevity is not my specialty, it is a skill set that I have had to learn. Man, when I have been over the past 2 weeks like curating and creating my TED Talk, like I had to cut it down from a 30-minute speech to 12. And then I just did a recording of like a practice run through, and with me slowing down my words and with me using all the work that my voice coach and my speech coach really helped me prepare with, suddenly it elongated. And I'm like, oh crap, I have to go back to that brevity skill set again. So brevity is still a skill set that I am working on. And using your Instagram stories is a great way to practice saying something within 60 seconds. So you get only, like, if you record it directly on Instagram, it will, or on, I think on Facebook too, you'll get 4 counts of 15. So you'll get 15 seconds and then it'll cut off at 60. So it gives you a good soundbite minute to be able to really put your idea, put your tip, put your system, put your strategy out there. And then if people want more information, they can always lean into it. They can always move forward from it. So it can give people that that ability. It builds the rapport of you as an expert in the eyes of the people who follow you. It also builds your skill set as a speaker. And that is something that we want to continuously practice. So whether you're going on one podcast or 30, that is a skill set that you will hone the more you practice it, because none of us are born with skill sets. None of us. We all have skill sets that are learned. Habits are trained. So the ability to speak, I did not always have the confidence to speak extemporaneously, which is how I speak now. This training, I have a few bullet points as far as things that I wanted to cover, and then I open it up to questions. But those few bullet points of what I want to cover, I trust myself to expand on those topics and to not have everything scripted, simply because I know that I know what I'm talking about. And I know that I know this material. When I first started out in my business, in fact, my first course that I ever created was called Rule Your Body. It was all about the mind-body connection and how to reprogram the language around your body. I scripted the entire thing. That was 4 years ago. And I scripted the entire thing because I was so nervous. The material is great. The confidence just wasn't there to speak extemporaneously. I had to build up that skill set. And that's why in that 1 year in 2018, I released 9 courses in 9 months. And because I released 9 courses in 9 months, by the last couple months that I was doing courses, if you have the Sell Like a Queen, and I know everyone has the Sparkle on Social Media self-study course by purchasing Communication Queens and becoming a communication queen. Sparkle on Social Media was my last self-study course that I released, and that was after 9. That was after 9 courses that I'd created. And you can tell the difference. A lot of it is much more outlined. A lot of it is not fully scripted. It was much more bullet pointed. And it was because I'd built up the practice of creating not 8 courses before. So on your first podcast, being able to be a conscious communicator, build up the practice by using stories to give that quick tip of service. It also allows you to really connect with your audience, to remind your audience of what you do well, to remind your audience that you're an expert in your field, and then to be able to especially if your audience currently are your close family and friends. Because a lot of times, especially when you're starting out in social media, the people following you are your close family and friends. And because it's your close family and friends, sometimes they will have seen you in a certain light. So like if you've had a career before, like I remember I had such imposter syndrome when I started coaching because of my career before as an actor and a screenwriter. So I thought those two didn't correlate, and the people from my screenwriting background wouldn't really connect with who I was as a coach. And I found that the people from my acting and my screenwriting, they are some of the most avid followers, avid commenters on my posts and on the work that I'm doing, and they want to collaborate and things like that. And it's brought out by doing it consistently. People value what you do consistently. And so if you're consistently in the space of establishing yourself as an expert, of showing up and saying, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what I do now, and this is what I'm leaning into, here's what I'm discovering, here's what I'm creating, that gives your audience a chance to adapt their perception of you, because everybody is going to have a perception of who you are, and that perception is not going to be the most accurate version of who you actually are. And so as a messenger, you can let the messages come through, and it is your job to establish yourself as the expert in what you do. And so you do that by being the person, being the leader, being the influencer, being the messenger, being the thought leader who takes a stand, who shares their voice, and who consistently repeats a message.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. If what you heard resonated with you, be sure to subscribe and share your breakthroughs and ahas with me by leaving a review on iTunes so I can keep the magic flowing your way. And if you aren't already following us on social media, come experience the extra inspiration and queenly convos on Instagram at Crown Yourself Now, or visit our website at crownyourself.com. I am so excited to connect with you in the next episode. And in the meantime, go out there and create a body, business, and life that rules.